What's going on, everybody? My name is Jordan Miller, and thank you so much for joining us for this latest webinar. In this one, we're going to be talking about private messages. But before we go in, I just want for my co-host Charles to say what's up.
What's up?
So like I mentioned, we're going to be talking about private messages, and this is a legacy feature and one that is worth diving into because, to be honest with you, it's pretty underrated. And we've received a lot of great feedback about this feature over the years. It allows for private micro conversations to take place within a larger community. But before we go into unpacking the features and showcasing a little bit of a demo of how you can use it and some of best practices for the private messages system, I do want to mention that there's a Q&A feature in this webinar. So feel free to ask your questions and we'll respond to you live. Or if you have any sort of comments or feedback and just want to say hi, there's a chat feature so you can weigh in there as well. And lastly, before we fully dive in, as a thank you for watching this live, if you're one of our clients on our cloud-based plans, we have an additional benefit for you. You can collaborate with us one-on-one if you want to better understand how to community build or to understand certain features in your community. It doesn't necessarily need to be about the private message system. So feel free to private message us in our community. Again, you can use the PM, which is what we're going to be talking about today. So without further delay, Charles, take it away and shine a light on private messages.
Thanks, Jordan. So private messages, like you were saying, is something that people are probably pretty familiar with, but I think a lot of times people don't look at them as a community engagement thing, which we want to talk about today. So first, I'm going to start just demoing PMs in general, which that in and of itself is not that exciting, but I think you'll be interested to see some things that maybe you're not always obvious about. So I'm just going to start by just sending a PM, and of course, you can send a single one-on-one PM, or you can do multiple people. I'll also include Olivia on this. And you as the site owner, the administrator, can define, can they just send one message or multiple people the message, and you can define how many people can do that. I'm going to send this message, and then I'll come over here and I'll sign in as Olivia here, so then I can read it. So, this is sort of the standard message interface. So a few things going on here. So, okay, you can see there's 3 people in this conversation. That's great. You have different options. You can turn off notifications and to also delete the conversation. So let's work a little backwards here. I'll start with deleting the conversation first. So when you delete a conversation and there's multiple people in it, what you're basically doing is you're leaving the conversation. You are, it removes it from your inbox, but the other people in the conversation just see that you've left. And I'll show you that in just a second. A couple other things from the screen. You can report a conversation. So if someone is sending you things that aren't really appropriate, you can report that to a moderator, and then the moderator will be able to take action on the conversation at that point. So also from in here, you can also disable your inbox completely. And what happens with that is it basically makes it so regular members cannot send you a message, but moderators, administrators, staff of the community can still message you. So you can't opt out of receiving messages from the people who run your community, but you can from other people. That's just not something you want to do. So I'll just quickly show you. I'm going to delete this conversation. This is from Olivia's account, and then I'm going to switch back. So you see it's gone. I'm going to switch back to me. Come up here, refresh here. And then when I come in here, you're going to see Jordan and I are still in the conversation, but Olivia has left it. I saw someone asked a question in our live stream here about recipient. Can they read it? And you'll see yes. You'll see Jordan's not read it, but I literally just now refreshed the page, and it's showing that I read it. So you do get those interactions, and as people reply, that works as well. So that's kind of at a high level as how private messages work. From the back end, like I mentioned, administrators can control if people can send messages, how many they can send, how many people they can send at once. And also we had a new feature where you can prune them as well, because what was happening is some of our communities, and good for them, are 20-some years old, great, but they'll sometimes have literally millions of messages. And some of these, if you have someone sent someone a message 20 years ago, you probably don't need to keep that forever. that fills up your database and can slow things down. So we had a pruning feature that the administrators can use. So great, PMs, you think, I know that, they are what they are, but let's talk a little bit about other ways to use the PM system that may not always be obvious to people. So last week or the week before, Jordan, I think we did something about the alert system, and we talked a bit about how the alert system and the PM system play really well together. So you can send someone an alert and either optionally or require a reply. So I know for years, a very common thing people would do was send users a welcome PM when they become a new member, which was great. I know you do that in your community.
Yep.
And wonderful. Here's a message, welcome to the community. That's great. But that would sort of really clutter up your inbox. You'd have literally something like thousands of these welcome PMs, and not everybody replied, and that's okay. The alert system makes it so they send an alert, and if they do reply, only then does it actually pop in your inbox because someone took that minute to reply. I think that's a much cleaner way of doing it. But what are some other use cases of PMs? We've talked about, we talk a lot about moderation, obviously, because as site owners, as community managers, that's a lot what we do. And there's the obvious, okay, if someone, maybe a couple of members are having an argument, or maybe someone's posting things inappropriately, before you bring down the band hammer, so to speak, you might send them a message to say, hey, let's get you two together in private with a moderator and we can talk this out. I know, Jordan, that's something you're a big proponent of, is kind of preempting before something gets to the point of action.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great opportunity if you see kind of some rocky waters within the community. It's a great opportunity for you as a community leader to reach out to either a member or a group of members who may be causing a little bit of trouble in the front-facing end of the community, and seeing what's up and maybe lending a helping hand. And adversely, I think the private message system, on the flip side, is a great opportunity as well for community leader to give props to a member or a group of members. Maybe they're posting great content, maybe they helped a fellow member out, and it's a great opportunity for you as a leader to reach out to them and also show them some love as well. So it's not exclusively used for mitigating trouble. It could also be on the flip side of helping.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a lot of great features in the platform, like you can reward people, you can feature their posts, there's a lot of things you can do in public to recognize members who are providing great contributions to your community and being really great members. And that's great. Definitely want to do that. But there's a lot of power in saying that private message saying, hey, I know I just featured your post or said thank you in public, but I really want to reiterate now, I really do appreciate you being a positive contribution to our community. And I tell clients this all the time, that spend less time on the negative, more on the positive, and you'll get more positive.
Yeah,
because a lot of what a successful community manager is someone who encourages the behavior they want to see. And that use of the PMs to reinforce that in private, I think is super powerful.
Yeah, agreed. I definitely think that there's occasions where ultimately you want people to be engaging publicly, but there's certainly obviously appropriate times where a conversation held privately is a better fit. So that's kind of one of the driving motivators behind private messages. Is there anything else that you can think of that you want to weigh in about private messages, or any sort of tip to give anybody utilizing this feature?
Yeah, I would say kind of what I've already mentioned is, think of them as a way of engaging. It is a user engagement mechanism. Yes, it's in private. No one but the users in the PM can see it, but that any type of user engagement you have can spill over to create a more powerful membership in your community. And I don't think people should discount, and they should really embrace that opportunity to engage people and sort of, I guess you could say, steer them in the direction you want your community to go by making them allies to your cause.
Well, thank you so much for shedding light on this awesome feature, and shout out to David for asking a question in this webinar. Again, if you're watching live, please feel free to reach out to us via private message in our community support forum, and we'll get back to you. It doesn't need to be about private messages. We can weigh in on anything that you like. So thank you so much for watching. Oh, and it's worth mentioning that we're doing more webinars in the future. So continually check our events page. to stay in the know. So with that said, thank you so much. Thank you, Charles, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.